Forward down the field, the Lions team that will not yield. And when the
Wow, man. Incredible finish. I think some Matthew Stafford haters may quiet down just a little bit. Yeah, you beat the Atlanta Falcons, but as we've said before, you never apologize for a win. The Lions at the buzzer, Matthew Stafford to TJ Hockenson. They walk off the Falcons. They win 23-22 to get this, Dave. 3-3 now on the year. Dave Youngkin, Ryan Slocum, the Benchwarmers here with you. Before we break it all down, Dave, just your initial thoughts on a wild one in Atlanta.
Yeah, for two teams that, like you said, love to blow the lead and love to give up on games, the last 2-3 minutes of that game, you didn't know what was going to happen. And to see the Lions with just a little bit over a minute to drive down and get that game-winning touchdown to Hockenson, it's something we're used to seeing in the past with previous coaches and whatnot, because it's not Stafford's first time doing so, but it's the first time we've seen it in a long time. Albeit against not a very good Falcons defense,
Right.
I thought this game was going to be a lot higher scoring. And, it was weird that it turned out to be, just in the low 20s.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people did because we know what Stafford can do. Falcons come in with the second best passing offense, fourth best offense in the league. They're losing shootouts every week. And then you look at the numbers. Stafford goes for 340. Matt Ryan goes for 338. Neither of them could do too much on the ground whatsoever. But, man, you're just looking at mistakes. We're making fun of these teams and the way they are. Well, look at the mistakes they made, especially just at the end of that game. Nobody wanted to win that game, man. I mean, you got the Falcons go down. The Lions let them score. Gurley tries not to score, and he falls right on the goal line. But even before that, the Lions are punting. The Falcons have 12 men on the field. They get another chance. Then Prater shanks a 46-yard field goal wide right after making a couple of 50-yarders. Ryan gets stripped later on. Then the Lions end up with a field goal. They take the lead. As we mentioned, Gurley. Then, Hockenson does not go down or get out of bounds on that final drive. They lost about 10 seconds on that. We didn't know if Kenny G caught that ball or not. We thought, oh, my gosh, it might be 17 all over again. We might get the 10-second runoff again. Mm-hmm. Nobody wanted to win this game, dude. So, I mean, it was just prototypical Falcons and Lions until the Lions did finally go win that game. Your thoughts, keys to the game, Dave, for you, now that we got all the nonsense of what happened out of the way.
Well, real quick to touch on Gurley getting forced into the end zone. That was the most Lions thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
And that would totally be something that we would see them do. But, it was Detroit's turn, I guess.
The Falcons have taken the mantle. They've taken their seat atop the throne right now. But, Dave, before we get into that, before we break the game down, since you mentioned this, we talked about they are 3-3 football team right now. An extra team gets into the playoffs this year. We know one division in the NFC is just completely garbage, the NFC least. Now, the Lions, Dave, are one drop touchdown away from being a 4-2 football team. I mean, you think about that. Week 1, Swift drops that ball. Mm-hmm. This team's 4-2 if that doesn't happen. And then you look at their schedule coming up. Indianapolis is not a world beater. Minnesota is not good. Washington's not good. Carolina's okay. Houston's not good. The Bears, we don't know. They might be the world's worst 5-1 team of all time. Green Bay's very good. Tennessee's good. Tampa is pretty good. But, I mean, you're looking at the next 3-4 games that are winnable games, man. And maybe should be winnable games. So I'm not sure this Lions team is terrible. They're not any more terrible than any of those teams I just listed, the next couple, Minnesota, Carolina. They're not horrible compared to them. Houston. I mean, these are games they could win. We could be looking at this team a couple 7-4, 7-3, 6-3.
Absolutely. And I don't think people realize, like you said, with the NFC least, they're only going to give one team to the playoffs, and that team probably shouldn't even go either. You know, you put Detroit over in that division, and they're right on top.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely.
When you brought up the Bears being the worst 5-1 team, I'm one of those people that think that. I think they've gotten lucky in a few spots. I still don't think that they really have a quarterback. Yeah, Foles has played okay, but I don't think he's going to really win games against really good teams. So I think Detroit, if they can go on a run against these bad teams, they have a chance to bump up there, possibly into that seventh spot. Their defense played a whole heck of a lot better this week than I expected, especially against a high-powered offense like the Falcons have. Matt Ryan did get his yards, but they weren't scoring. The Lions' defense was bending but not breaking, and that turned out to be a huge factor.
I think that's the number one key to this game. Without question, Matt Patricia's defenses are known for bending and not breaking. They let up a lot of yards, but they win games. We saw that today against, again, not a great football team, but a team that's been scoring a lot of points. The number 2 passing team in the league, number 4 offensive team in the league. And the Lions held them to 22 points. So you've got to give credit there. And they did make some big plays when they mattered. It got a little scary at the end, though. Julio started getting off there on the last couple of drives. You know, they're playing zone, and Matty Ice was picking them apart on that zone. So I was getting really worried there. But no, they made the plays when they need to. Romeo Okwara, again, the strip. Flowers got in there, got the fumble. That got the Lions that much-needed field goal there. Your thoughts, Dave, on the offense? What we saw from them. You know, Lions don't score a lot of points in this one, just 23. But I thought Stafford played maybe his best game of this season. I don't think there was anything in there. I thought the first throw on the final drive, that was a bad throw to Kenny G. Couldn't get both feet down in bounds. So on the incomplete pass there. But outside of that, this might have been the most complete game Matt has played all season long. There wasn't anywhere where you're like, oh, he held the ball too long. What did he throw there for? What was he doing? I thought he did good.
Yeah, he only took 2 sacks. Very efficient. Had a quarterback rating of 108.6, 25 of 36 passing. But he used everybody that they had on the field. When you look at the receptions, you had Galladay with 6, Jones with 5, Amendola 3, Hockenson 5, and Swift. At the beginning of the game, I had texted you and I said, oh, look, you know, Swift are they passing the torch to Swift because he's touching the ball a whole lot more. Turns out Adrian Peterson did outcarry everybody. He had 11 carries compared to Swift's 9, and those were the only 2 guys that handled the ball. So,
right. But like he had a lot. He was much more involved than Peterson was, though, except for a couple of boneheaded times. They gave the ball to Peterson, the 4th down early in the game, and then later on 3rd and 1, they handed, or excuse me, was that a 4th again when they handed him the ball and he got stopped? Either way, but you were right. Swift was way more involved in this game, 4 catches as well. And Carry-On, I mean, he's just a blocker at this point. I mean, that's all this guy is doing. He's kind of worthless right now. I mean, of course, you need blocking, but he is not involved in the passing or the running game whatsoever.
No, you're right. And then I forget the guy's name that I think, didn't they just bring up Scarborough again?
Well, he was yeah, I mean, he was
healthy. He was. So you wonder.
Taken off the list.
You wonder if with the trade deadline next week, there could be some movement there for some teams that need some help in the backfield. I could see them getting some calls, especially after this week with Johnson not having any usage whatsoever.
Right. Well, and he hasn't been. But this week, no touches. No touches at all. But how about that? Let's talk about Swift. You did, and you mentioned it on the very first drive. The Swift is much more involved. And, we heard guys this week kind of say, people thought this was going to happen right out of the gate. And then they go get Adrian Peterson. And so you didn't know. You're like, well, what did we draft this guy for? You got to remember, he didn't have camp. He didn't have preseason games, or not a real camp anyway. Preseason games, all of that stuff, off-season workouts, OTAs. He didn't have any of that, man. So it looks like now maybe he's getting rolling a little bit.
Yeah, you put him in the position that he was in the first game. I bet you he doesn't drop that pass now.
Great point. No, I don't think he does.
No.
I absolutely do not think he does. And, and he did slow down after the first drive. He did pretty much all of his damage on the first drive, at least carrying the ball. Lions did not do well rushing the ball 21 times, 64 yards. That's only 3 yards a clip.
No, that's terrible.
What else stands out for you, Dave?
And again, it was what we touched on about the defense, being able to bend and not break, stopping those drives, short of getting touchdowns. But after he shanked that field goal, and then you had the touchdown, and they needed to have the extra point to win the game, getting backed up those 15 yards, that put some doubt in your mind, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was some doubt in his mind after shanking that field goal. So
he did come right back, though, luckily.
Yep. Yeah, so that was pretty clutch to be able to make a 48-yard extra point to win the game.
Lions with 7 rushing touchdowns this season through the first 6 games. They have not done that since 1998. So obviously they're trying to run the ball here. They've got some dudes that can do it. So that's awesome that they're doing that. The other thing I wanted to mention was they scored first again in this game. They have done that in all 6 games. 4 touchdowns, 2 field goals. But now they won this game, and they look great on that last drive. Well, what's going on after the first 15 scripted plays? Because they come out gangbusters, and they have every single week. Then everything kind of stops for a while. I'm not a Darrell Bevel hater by any stretch. I think he's done a decent job. I like a lot of what I see. So is there something he can be doing? Is there something they can be doing outside of the first few scripted plays? What are they not doing?
Well, you look at it, and this week they had sorry, let me just pull that up real quick. All right, so after the first quarter, you go into the second quarter, they do have the 11-play 53-yard drive that only ends up in a field goal. From that point, you got 3 and out, you got a missed field goal, you get another field goal, and then you have the game-winning touchdown drive. For one, it really seems like they're not maximizing their possessions. Especially when they abandon the run, you go to look at the time of possession. And this week, it was actually a lot more equal than it has been. But for the most part this year, they've been out-possessed all year. It just feels like they're unprepared to be able to make adjustments. And especially when you sit down at halftime, they don't seem to make any adjustments then either when you actually have some time to sit down and do stuff, so they're definitely not going to be able to do it on the fly, in the second, fourth quarter. So, I don't know exactly what is missing. I know that they're going to continue to struggle if they don't figure out a way to run the ball much better than 3 yards per carry.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to play. Now, this is fine. Never apologize for the win.
Right.
You played the Falcons.
Yeah, you do this against Green Bay, you're going to lose 47-17.
Yeah, you're not going to have a chance to be in the position you were today against Green Bay the way they're playing right now. The star of the game, I think Stafford played great, but dude, Kenny G, you see some people calling him baby Megatron and all this, and I hate that. I think that's stupid. He did kind of look like it today, though. He had some plays out there that looked very Megatron-esque.
Absolutely. There was 2 plays that came to mind. Obviously, the one that led to the game-winning touchdown, but there was one. It was in the fourth quarter where he jumped up, got the ball, flipped around, landed directly on his back, held onto the ball, and got right up. Didn't miss a beat. That was absolutely an incredible catch. Incredible the way he just rolled with it and bounced back up, because I'm sure Lions fans were holding their breath for a minute after the way he hit the ground.
Oh, yeah. But he popped right up.
Yep.
He popped right up.
And going back to that last catch that set up the touchdown, to be able to have that ball, it went over a defender, and it looked like it was about to get tipped. And for him to be able to keep his concentration and sliding down to get that, and then with the guys jumping on top of him, being able to hold on to possession of the ball and never letting it hit the ground. I mean, that is the definition of clutch.
Yep, absolutely. And he had one down the sideline where he was in traffic and he pulled. I mean, dude, he did not make an easy catch. There was 0 routine catches by him out there today. Just a great job by him. In the locker room today, Dave Burkett of the Free Press asked Kenny G what he meant by his cryptic Instagram post earlier this week, where he kind of hinted at that maybe somebody better pay me. And he said he would let the media figure that out, and then laughed about it. And yeah, that's what he did. He made some money today. And it was funny too, because the guys announcing the game were bringing that up as well, about how he wants to get paid, and he's going to get paid. Great. Dan Quinn gets a ton. Bob Quinn, not Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn's done already. Bob Quinn gets a lot of flack, as he should, but he has made a few steal draft picks, and Kenny Golladay has got to be on the top of the list in the entire NFL of steals when we got this dude. Because I remember when he got drafted, 90% of the people in the entire world, not just around here, we're going, who? Kenny Golladay? Who's that dude? Dude, he's really good. I mean, he's really good.
That's like almost every draft pick of the Steelers when they draft a wide receiver.
Well, yeah, no doubt. Not much else out of the locker room today. Nothing too special.
No, real quick on the whole Galladay and getting his money and everything like that. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out. Whether they're going to sign him to a big lucrative deal, keep him here, or, I mean, it's in play that he could end up somewhere else if they don't decide to invest a whole bunch of money in a number one wide receiver.
Right. Well, and it's going to be, does he want to be here? Obviously, somebody's going to throw money at him. But the other thing is, will Bob Quinn be here? And who will be the person who is going to be making that decision? Which brings us to our weekly game. It's the head coach hot seat. All right. It is the head coach hot seat. And of course, we are going to bring up Matt Patricia. Last time we met, Dan Quinn was number 1 on the head coach hot seat. Dan Quinn has since been let go. See ya, Dano. Book it. You're out of here. Number 2 on that list, or a 1A, was Matt Patricia, the Lions head coach. His team is now 3-3. As we mentioned, they very well could be 4-2. It is not his fault that Swift dropped that pass.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dave, Matt Patricia, is he still currently on October 25th on the head coach hot seat?
I'm gonna say he's on the medium coach hot seat. I'll tell you what. The fact that he didn't get let go during the bye, I think that automatically means he's here for the rest of the year. That's basically you saying he's sticking around.
Unless they would have gotten like beaten 40-0 today or something.
Right.
Right.
Or by Jacksonville. But for the most part, that's them saying he's going to be here for the rest of the year. So now now they're 3-3. He's got the next 10 games to fight for his job, essentially. I think if they end up less than 500, I think there's no chance he's back as coach. I think 8-8 is the bare minimum for him to have a chance at being the head coach of the Detroit Lions next year.
How about where he's at right now? I mean, he is 500. And they said we need to be a playoff contender. I think at this point, they should be. They should be at least 8-8 by the end of the year, where we're sitting right now.
Yeah, especially when you brought up the schedule earlier, for sure.
Nice rebound by Hawk at the end of that game. He owed him one because he cost him 10 seconds there. I mean, he could have blown that game. That dude is fighting for 1 yard, like at the 40. Like, it's different if you're fighting for 1 yard on the one.
Right.
Like you're fighting
for the
at
game.
Yeah, you can't kick a field goal at this point. You need 6 and then 7 to win. Bro, get out of bounds, man. Come on. Like, you've been playing football your whole life. Get out of bounds.
And Stafford on that last play made me nervous that he was going to try to force a bad throw it too quick. He did a great job moving around in the pocket, stepping up, avoiding defenders, and waiting for an opportunity to get a chance to deliver the ball.
Yep.
I thought that was great. Like, I was very impressed by the way that whole play developed and how smart he was with it.
Yeah, we mentioned it earlier. He looked like the Stafford who everyone defends. The guy who everybody, oh, no, he's not as bad, and he has anybody with him. He looked like that today. I thought he played well. I mean, of course, there's always throws you're going to want back. You're always going to want some back. But I thought he played fine today. Anything else, Dave, on today's game?
No, I definitely think we covered everything. Again, for the third time, you're not going to apologize for a win. It was the Falcons. Let's see if they can keep this momentum going, beating Jacksonville, beating Atlanta. Like you said, Indy next week.
Indy next week.
And they're definitely beatable. I think
beatable.
They're not as good as their record. No way.
Well, and they're not as bad as Atlanta or Jacksonville either.
That's true, too.
So
they've got a good defense. That'll be one of the tougher defenses that they play this year.
All right, man. Well, we're going to wrap this up this week. We're going to go a little around the whole league and the Lions as well. We are going to play another game, and this game is known as
Too Sweet
or Diarrhea. So, Dave, we are playing Too Sweet or Diarrhea. And in Too Sweet or Diarrhea, I just throw something at you. I throw a name. I throw a player. I could throw anything at you. I could throw a team at you. And you tell me if this person, team, player, referee, announcer, whoever, are they
Too Sweet
or are they Diarrhea? Dave, do you understand the rules of Too Sweet or Diarrhea?
I understand.
They seem incredibly complicated. Okay.
So I'm going to tell you a player or a team, and then they're going to have diarrhea.
Exactly.
All right,
That's
cool.
exactly
Perfect.
how it goes.
All right.
So here we go. First one is coming from earlier this week. He is the quarterback of the New York Giants, football Giants, that is, Daniel Jones.
Running, stumbling, fumbling, falling on the 20-yard line all by himself. That would be a bunch of diarrhea.
Diarrhea. Daniel Jones is diarrhea. Okay, just because of that wide open, not Jesse Owens run there when he fell down on his face, or anything else?
No. He's been trying to do his best with what he can do, so we'll just give him diarrhea for that.
Diarrhea. Okay, we have another Danielson coming in at number 2. This one from your very own Detroit Lions. Danny Amendola. Dave, is Danny
Too sweet.
or is Danny Amendola? Diarrhea.
Man, he had at least one really sweet catch. It was awesome breaking off that wheel route.
35
man,
yards, I believe, something like that.
Yeah. And then what else did he do?
Well, he dropped one early.
Oh yeah, he dropped a horrible pass and had a stupid penalty on the game-winning or a potential game-winning touchdown, pushing the extra point back another 15 yards with an already shaky kicker. That's a bunch of crap.
Yeah, so you already didn't want to win this game. You score a touchdown, but you still need the extra point to win. Prater has already missed a kick today. You then had to kick 48 yards to win because of him. Danny Amendola. What do you think there, Dave?
Diarrhea.
Something crazy just happened too. You put your head down and all of a sudden that cat face popped up where your face was supposed to be. It was nuts. Like your head was still there, but your face was that cat. Cat face. Diarrhea. You get diarrhea. Okay. Scary moment, actually, today. Cowboys taking on football team. And Andy Dalton is now the quarterback for the Cowboys after Dak's leg fell off a couple weeks ago. Dalton's running. He slides feet first. John Bostic comes up and just absolutely levels Andy Dalton. Head smokes the ground. Helmet comes off. Looked like he was out of it. Cart came out. He did end up walking off eventually. I don't think this is going to be a hard one. John Bostic. What category does he fall into this week?
He's going to be diarrhea. I'll go ahead and place it there. I could sit here and go off on how horribly stupid that was.
Diarrhea.
Scary moment. Stupid play. He probably shouldn't be playing football for a while.
Yeah, you got to think he's getting at least a game. If not, I mean, that could be 4 games.
If you put it up to me, it's more. There, like the whole rules to protect the quarterback. He shouldn't be even anywhere close to touching him, let alone that type of hit. I mean, you can't tell me he was trying to avoid anything.
No,
or he was doing nothing but head hunting.
He headhunted him. And look at the Stafford call earlier in the game that actually kept the Lions drive alive. Even Lions fans were like, that's a terrible call.
Yep.
The Falcons got screwed there. This is the polar opposite of that, man. I mean, that dude did launch at him as he was giving himself up. I don't know his history. Does he have any history of anything like this before? Because that will play a part as well. If he does, I don't know.
No, I'm not aware of him being suspended. He played for the Colts previously and actually played for the Steelers for a year or two. No, he's just kind of like a role player and never did anything like that. But I'm surprised. Let me put it this way: if that would have been Dak in there, I bet you he would have got mauled by most of the Cowboys.
Oh gosh,
I would not have been surprised if he would have got attacked by somebody, and I'm still surprised he didn't.
Yeah, that. I don't know, maybe because dudes are just so shocked because he was out, man.
Yeah.
So that may be the ultimate gimme of the week, John Bostic. Okay, now one that may be a little up in the air right now. You and I have been talking about this guy all season. We've been wondering, is he really good? Is he worth what we're paying him? I'm not positive this dude. And I don't think he sucks, but I don't know if he's any good. Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones. And as we brought this up today, Marv goes out and had a great game. Targeted 6 times. He catches 5 balls, 80 yards. Had some big catches in there. But overall, Marvin Jones, is he too sweet or is he diarrhea?
You're right. This is definitely the toughest decision that I've had so far. His numbers, yeah, he had a good game today, but his numbers on the season are not good, especially when you're supposed to be the second best receiver behind somebody like Kenny Galladay, who is, he's up here.
Let me throw this in here as well. 5-year, $40 million contract. This year, base salary $6.5 million with a cap hit of $9.18 million. Marvin Jones, are you
Too sweet.
or are you
Diarrhea.
Dollar for dollar, pound for pound, diarrhea.
Diarrhea.
Wow. Marv. I love Marv, by the way. One of the nicest dudes on earth.
Good dude.
But at a $9 million cap hit, you had a great game today. But overall, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, we got a couple of more here. We will stick with the wide receivers, and this one is an easy one. Green Bay Packers. Their last guy on their wide receiver totem pole, but he catches his first career NFL touchdown today from Montrose, Michigan, at least from Montrose High School. Malik Taylor.
That's like right here, I think, right in this area. For those of you that don't know.
Yeah, it's in the hand. Take a left at Flint, and you get to Montrose.
Too sweet, man. Too sweet.
Too sweet.
Such a good story. And you're the one that said it earlier. All the dude needed was a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Get the guy on the field. Give him a chance to show out. And he gets to do it with one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. How freaking cool is that?
No doubt. And for those that don't know his story, man, he goes to Montrose. He was an all-stater his senior year, may have been his junior year as well. I can't remember everything. My brain hurts. He was awesome. He wasn't getting any looks, though. And I know there were some great issues in there as well, but he wasn't getting any D1 looks. I'm like, dude, Central Michigan can't get this guy. Eastern,
right,
at that point, was the laughingstock of the NCAA. They were the worst program in the country back then. I'm like, this dude can't get a look at Eastern? Nothing. Even Courtney Hawkins, NFL player, was the head coach at Beecher for the longest time and now is at Michigan State as their wide receivers coach. Even he got him a look at Michigan State. They started getting a little interest, maybe a preferred walk-on or something. Courtney went to bat for him. They said, hey, because he has to play him every year. Like, is this kid good? And it's like, yeah, kid's real good. I'd offer him if I were you guys. They didn't end up offering him. And again, I know there were a few great issues in there or whatnot.
Sure.
But no D1 is looking at this dude. And he's got size. He was fast. He is like the best kid on earth. He ends up going to Ferris State. And he turns into a first-team All-American out there, helps them get to the Division II National Championship game. Ferris hadn't been really, really relevant in 20, 25 years.
Yep.
That has been dominated by Grand Valley, the GLIAC, in Division II.
Nobody good goes to that school, ever.
I don't know what the heck that was. Could you hear that?
No.
I just heard all this racket. All right, anyway.
Try to job
he goes
job
there.
you in Grand Valley.
Yeah, no, he goes there. He did. He took it to us. And Practice squad last year, undrafted, works his way in. They didn't think he'd make the team. He makes the team. He's playing every game, and he gets his first touchdown. So Malik Taylor.
Too sweet.
Last one. Are they
Too sweet.
or are they
Diarrhea.
at 3-3? The Detroit Lions.
This is a lot tougher than the Marvin Jones one.
It's not easy.
No.
That's why I threw it in here at the last second, because I almost said it earlier.
I'm going to go with the outlook of what have you done for me lately? They came off the bye, 2 wins in a row, offense looking good. You can only play who's in front of you. You don't pick your schedule. Right now, I'm going to say that they're going too sweet.
Wow.
Sweet.
Wow.
Too sweet.
That is unbelievable.
One more for the good guy.
Wow.
I mean, you asked me this 3 weeks ago. It's a totally different answer.
It's immediate. It's immediate. No, like I don't even get it out of my mouth.
And the fun thing is, next week or 2 weeks from now, it could go right back to that.
Yeah.
But like I said, right now, the 2 wins in a row, the offense is looking good. They didn't put up as many points this week as they did last week when, they had a good opportunity. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do against that Colts defense.
Right.
And see if they're going to continue to feed Swift the ball. And if he essentially becomes the number 2 guy behind Galladay, even as a running back.
There's a couple things. They really should be 4-2. I mean, and you're not, so you're not. But
right.
They should be 4-2. That said, there's some things that scare me. When you play an elite team like the Green Bay Packers, they got absolutely trucked. So that worries me. And then I don't know if New Orleans is any good or not, but they took that lead and then gave up 35 in a row to New Orleans. And then since then, you've played 2 garbage football teams, because that's what Jacksonville and Atlanta are. They're garbage. So I don't know. So I guess it makes sense that they're even, that they're 3-3, because you can say a bunch of good stuff and then you can say a bunch of bad stuff. Okay, we're right back in the middle. But yeah, I agree with you. When you look at the schedule, they should beat Indy. They're at home. Not that there's a crowd or anything, but they don't have to travel and all that. They can sleep at home and do all that, whatever. They should beat Minnesota. They should beat Washington. They should beat Houston. I mean, and that maybe Chicago again. So right now, they probably are. I don't know if they're too sweet.
Yeah.
But they might be a little bit sweet. They got some sweet stuff. They got some sweet sauce. Anyway. Well, next week, yeah, it is Indy, 1:00 at Ford's Field. Anything else from this week, Dave, before we get on out of here?
Just going to shout out my Pittsburgh Steelers being 6-0.
Yeah, they're decent.
Yep. A lot of people are giving them crap for being 5-0 against the teams that they played, but like I said earlier, you can't pick who you play against. And
Tennessee was 5-0 going into today too.
People love the Titans team, and I'm one of them. I mean, some of the wins that they've had recently have been really impressive. And the Steelers did a great job of containing Derrick Henry for most of the game. They let off the pedal in the second half, but when push comes to shove, they made the stops that they needed to, and now they're at Baltimore next week.
Yep, and that might be a truer test. Because I'll tell you what, I think the Titans are going to be missing Mr. Taylor Lewan also.
You saw it today. The guy that replaced him got abused by TJ Watt.
Benchwarmers saying, holy smokes, the Lions. 2 in a row, 3-3. Forward down the field, baby. See you next time.
All right, see you guys.
Pleasure's all yours, Bucky boys.
I win the game. With honor you win. will keep your faith.